from that, mate. So how are you before we get stuck into your story, mate? All right?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Yeah, just plodding on, mate. Nice to have a bit of nice weather, isn't it? But yeah, I'm all good.
Good man. So before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you and who lived at home?
Home, mate, was Cronton in Widnes.
Right.
There was myself, obviously, my mum, my dad, got two brothers and two younger brothers and a younger sister as well. So there's a few of us.
Right. So is that where the competitive edge comes from, then, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, probably, mate. Looking back, mate, yeah, played with my two brothers a lot. You know, and you don't see it a lot now, do you? But always in the back garden with a rugby ball, and we were playing 2v1, and we'd swap over, you know, different teams, and it'd take turns with one of us on our own. And remember fighting in the house, and not too much, mate. But you know what lads are like, don't you? So probably all stemmed from that, really, didn't it?
Yeah, so mate. So when did rugby become part of your life, mate? And how did you get introduced to rugby?
Mate, probably similar to everyone else in the town, mate. It was about 6 years old I was.
Right.
Went down to Untitled Lions at the time. And I just went from there, really. At the time, my dad was involved with, I don't even remember, Prescott Panthers used to be Runcorn Highfield and all that. But he was involved in the professional club at the time, you know, on the board and things like that. So it'd always just been something that I'd done, mate. And then went to Lunseath at 6 and just went from there, really.
Right, and was it something your junior school done, or was it just club rugby?
Mate, it wasn't nothing. I went to Holy Family in Cranston, and mate, at the time when I went, there was 12 people in the year, three lads, and 3 lads, and the rest were girls. So it was a proper village school, mate. So there was no. I was the captain of the school team, mate, but we never played a game, so there's no point in being a captain. But I still tell everyone.
Still on the CV,
yeah. Still tell everyone, mate. But now we didn't do it in junior school. A bit more so in secondary school, you know, Peter and Paul, but nothing in junior school, mate. No.
So was the town team not an option for you with school?
Nah, mate, never got picked for it. Never got. Probably a different story to most people, mate. Never got picked for the town team or any rep honours or anything like that, mate. I just plodded on doing what I was doing. Went Lunseath, then went to Widnes Tigers when I was 16, under 16s, and then continued to the 18s at Tigers, but played academy alongside it as well. So that's how it stemmed, really.
So how was your transition into high school, mate? Do you reckon rugby helped with that, or?
Yeah, a little bit, mate. But coming from that school, mate, it was only me that went to Peter and Paul. So I knew a few that were going already through the rugby, which was lucky because no one came from Cronton. My mates that I hung around in Cronton with, they went like to Wade Deacon and Fairfield at the time. So it was just me that went to secondary school, mate. But I've always been outgoing and quite cheeky, so. Quite fortunate. I got on with a few people, so it was good, mate. To be honest.
And was that when you were in? Was you introduced to rugby union at Peter and Paul, mate?
Yeah, mate. I think I had a game or two, but I think that the PE teacher, Mr. Buxton, I think a lot of people know him. I think he was predominantly rugby union, mate. So rugby union was introduced. Yeah, so there was a bit of both at Peter and Paul at the time. Right.
So compared to your club rugby, what was the school standard like? What did you prefer playing?
I preferred for the club. I didn't play much for the school, really. Right. So played the odd game here and there, you know, throughout the year. But preferred the club rugby a lot, mate. I used to enjoy it. Lunseath. It seemed like the only club in the town at the time, and I can't remember if there was any more when I was young. But it seemed like everyone was there, and it was a good community, and really enjoyed it at Lunseath Lions, mate, at the time. So I did prefer the club rugby.
Yeah, it's mad how they're not here anymore, sort of thing, isn't it? Because that many people with sports who have started there.
Everyone started there, didn't they? And I can't remember when and how they went. They just went, didn't they?
Like I hadn't heard of them before I started doing this. Like, so I was like out and on. It's me. It was already out on it. So, but the amount of people that started there for it not to be about now, it's a shame, really.
Yeah, it's strange, mate. I think everyone I know started there, so I don't know what happened to them, mate. But at the time, it was a big community, mate, and there was loads of people there from the town.
Right. So you touched on it before, mate. So regardless of the fact you might not have got selected, were trials something you went at? And
do you know what, mate? I think I remember going once for the town team, and I never got picked. But I can't remember any more trials after that. And mate, my story's probably a little bit different to everyone else's. I think a lot of people get wrapped up when they're young. Oh, you've got to do this, you've got to play for this, and people think they're going to make it at 8, 9, 10 years of age, and it's just not like that. And you'll know yourself in rugby, mate. You can make it further down the line, or you can do a little bit yourself further down the line. But mate, no, I think a trial once, mate, never got in. But I was probably a pest, mate, because I just kept going and kept doing stuff. And
that's the way to be, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I just kept doing stuff. Enjoyed doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
and then just kept going. And that's probably how I ended up into coaching, which I'm probably more known for the coaching rather than playing.
Right, fair enough. And how did you take that, mate, as a young lad? Like, because rejection's a part of life, whether we all like it or not, and most of us don't like it. So how did you cope with that?
It's at the time, I imagine it was tough because everyone around you's getting in, aren't they? All your mates are in and things like that. But looking back now, mate, it's different times we grew up in, though, weren't it? It just is what it was years ago. But now people need mollycoddling now, don't they, with an arm around them? And I know everyone's different, mate, but yeah, it was tough not getting in, mate. And I'd love getting in, but looking back, I think all the experiences shape you, don't they? So I don't think I'd have done now what I've been doing now if it weren't for what happened then. So I think everything happens for a reason, mate. It all shapes you.
It does, yeah. And I think obviously we'll touch on it in a bit, but probably the way you go about your business with your coaching, it'd certainly be different if you went through them pathways.
Yeah,
you're more relatable to the lads you're helping out with, aren't you? When you've come through your own way, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's just little things like South Wales, for example. Mate, we never won a game, and well, we won a few, mate. I'll do myself out of thinking there, but we won a couple, mate, but not many, mate. Never expected to win, but that's where you learn the most. You learn the most of them type of places, and instead of going into something winning all the time, and if something goes wrong, you don't know how to fix it. So you learn a lot in adversity, mate, and I think it's done me a world of good. You know, looking back and seeing what I've done now.
Right. So, what were your options leaving school, mate?
I don't know, mate. I was a cheeky one, mate. I went to college. Croydon College for 3 years. Right. Yeah. I did a business, like GMBQ in business for 3 years, and I don't know why I bothered, mate. At the time, I was playing 18 rugby at the time. Remember the old 18, the old Alliance, which I played at Warrington and Whitehaven while I was in college, and mate, I was more bothered about walking around, thinking I was this and I was that, and just having a laugh and kicking a football around in the corridors and things like that. So that was my transition from school into college, mate, and then went into the working world, jumped from job to job, really, and I've been settled in my current role now for about 15 years. I've done my current role, but previously that, mate, I was just jumping from it. I think it was mainly because of rugby. I think I wanted to play rugby and thinking, oh, well, I can't do that job because I won't be able to train that night. So I wasn't thinking about the things I should have been thinking about. I was thinking, oh, I can't do that because I can't train. And eventually, mate, I sorted my head out, and I've been in a career now for about 15 years.
Well, we all say that, though. Well, rugby's just a secondary thing, but it isn't, is it? It does. It revolves around the Tuesday, Thursday game day, doesn't it? And I never work weekends. I'm lucky I don't work weekends or evenings in my job at the moment. But if it did, mate, it as you say, it'd kill me because we're growing up with it, aren't we? We love it, and that's it, mate.
The day we can't run anymore, that'll be it, I guess, won't it?
So how did signing for Warrington come about then, mate? And how did the A-League work back then for people that don't know?
Oh, mate, it was I was playing academy at Lancashire Lynx, you know, where Paul Roberts was at. He was Paul got into the first team while we were there, and we travelled up together. My dad used to take us up, and I was just there. And I came to the end of it. It was my mate signed for Warrington, Chris Campbell. I'm not sure if you heard of Chris, but he'd signed for Warrington at the time, and there was an 18 there, and he'd mentioned me to Paul, you know, Paul Cullen, and just went from there, mate. And only played 18, played a friendly or two first team, which everyone does, don't they? But mate, only played 18 when I went there, and that was it, mate. Paul left, Paul Cullen, he went to Whitehaven, and I just went up there to Whitehaven. Again, only played 18, mate. Predominantly was 18 player, played the odd first team here and there, but predominantly just 18, mate. So that's how it was. Just my best mate had a word, got me in, and just went from there.
So let's go back a little bit then. So the Lancashire Link stuff, Paul said, like, as I'm sure you'll touch on yourself, like, everything there felt good at one point, didn't it? You were all loving it, and it was a good group. And then was it a change of coach for Paul? Did it really suit him? Did it? He clashed it with him. How did you find, like, Lancashire Lynx? And
I enjoyed it, mate. It was good. It was the first step on the ladder, if you like. And it was my dad's cousin that coached. So it was a bit tougher for him. He was really tough on me. He's obviously old school anyway. He played at Wigan, my dad's cousin, but he was old school, mate, and I couldn't do anything wrong. If I did, he was on me like a ton of bricks. And I remember I missed a kick in front of Sticks against York one day, and mate, that's bad enough anyway, innit? He railroaded me in a change room in front of everyone, mate. So I enjoyed it, mate, but it was another tough learning curve, which, looking back, it helps you, doesn't it? It does help you. And I don't know whether they get away with it in this day and age, because people don't like shouting, do they? But it was tough, mate. It was harsh on me, and mate, I enjoyed it. And Paul Roberts was there, and Paul Rostance, another one of my friends. And again, mate, them two broke into the first team, so that mate, I'm surprised they didn't carry on and do a bit more, but things happen, don't need really good players, them two. So I enjoyed it, mate, travelling up with them. We had a laugh, and it was good, mate, really good experience.
So what position did you grow up playing?
Oh, mate, it was a centre or a standoff, really.
Right.
Predominantly a centre, really, mate. It wasn't good enough to be a standoff, you know, at like the A-team and academies, and played the odd game, but predominantly, mate, it was a centre, and that's the position I grew up, mate. Enjoyed it.
Because it's two completely different positions, isn't it? Defensively, attacking.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're a standoff, don't they?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're a standoff, mate. No matter how old you get, mate, you got like props and all sorts playing standoff at tick and pass. But mate, I was good with the ball in my hands, probably just not good enough. And then he just stick me on a centre, mate. It's just a case of taking the ball in it and passing every now to me winger. But yeah, mate, enjoyed playing six and still have a go at the Masters now up at Farnworth.
Yeah, class that. And it's good. You know what? I think that's a great concept. That.
Yeah, I love it, mate. They've not played many games. That's the only thing. They had a tournament not so long ago against Crossfields, but they're not playing regular games. So it'd be nice if you get a few games in that. But yeah, I enjoy it, mate. The training, it's never leaves you, does it? Everyone's really competitive, aren't they? And
yeah.
You get a good sweat.
Otherwise, would we, mate?
Yeah, it's great. So I enjoy that, mate. It's brilliant.
No, good stuff. So what happened at the end of the Warrington spell then? Is that a mutual thing or? Yeah,
mate. I just went. I started went for the season, and I started the season after. And mate, I wasn't getting picked. Mate, I got picked first game, and I think it was Bradford that he'd left me out and didn't look like I was getting in. So they were short numbers at Whitehaven, and Cole just said, "Do you want to come up here?" So there's a couple of us that went up there and played up there, mate. Really enjoyed that at Whitehaven. Just brilliant people, similar to South Wales. Just brilliant. It's like a big community, and they all look after you when you come in. And so I loved it up there. And Cullen had a house up there, so if we could stay up there, you know, when we went up. So it was good, mate, listening to some of his stories because he was a wild one as well, weren't he?
I can imagine.
Mate, some of the stuff he was saying about when he went out, nights out, and crazy. But good job there's no camera phones then, was there? And videos. And...
Oh, that's it, because they're in everyone's face now. You can't breathe and you've upset someone, like you said. So
can't do anything, but
you can't.
It's good, mate. But yeah, I went there, mate. I think I can't remember it was after there or no. After there, I went to France for a couple of months. Well, I ended up going to France for 3 months. Played for Albi in France. I think I was only 19, and I played standoff there. Funny enough, probably because the level's not as good as over here. Is it? Funny enough place, but the lad I went over with, mate, didn't get on with him, and ended up getting drunk every night. You know, fighting with our own players. You know, after the game, and I come back off nights out. My clothes would be everywhere, and just wanted to fight. So I wasn't enjoying it, that side of it, and it was gutted really because it'd been a good opportunity for me. So I just ended up coming home from there, and I think when I got back, I'd signed for York when I got back from there. Again, mate, didn't last long. Played about three first team games there, and had a lot of chances in my life, mate. A lot of opportunities for all the coaching stuff, and just never really took them. I had a nice little contract to give me a car, and you know, give me a car to travel up, mate, and then I stopped travelling up. So absolutely pointless, weren't it, mate? But I've had plenty of opportunities, and just probably wasted them a bit when I was young. So I've matured a lot, mate, since, and I've probably tried to take the coaching a lot more seriously than I ever did playing wise. Yeah,
well, listen, like you said before, it's shaped who you are or helped to, hasn't it? And everything like that, mate, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So that couple of months in Albi then, mate, was it a shock to the system, or do you think if it wasn't for that guy you went over with, would it have been a better experience for you?
I tell you what, mate, you've summed it up in that first line. It was a real shock to the system.
Was it?
I don't know what's changed. I don't know if there's much changed over there now, mate, but it was just brutal over there. And I was a 19-year-old lad, probably a bit naive. I remember coming out first game, and just a normal tunnel where they come out, but instead they go underground and then come out under the sticks. So I'm going underground, and they're all like shouting and banging in French, and I'm like, oh my god, what have I let myself in for? There, I got my nose bust on the first tackle, and then the second game, I think it was Vale France we played, mate. We're under the stands getting changed, and we can hear a massive racket. So we go outside. The academy's had a fight. It spilled over into the stand, and then all the parents and supporters are fighting, and I'm just like, oh no, I can't speak any of the language. Mate, I'm probably glad that I come on. So it was an eye opener, but yeah, I probably would have stayed if I had to come back with him. I'd have to have stayed when I'd have looked after otherwise. But it was definitely an eye opener, mate. But it's bit different. I know it changes every year, doesn't it? Rugby. So I imagine it's not like that now, mate. But it was quite tough back then.
Right, and how did they look after you back then, mate? So that them clubs we spoke of so far, how have you been with injuries for a start, and would they look after you with the injuries and that? And
mate, I've never really been injured, mate. To be honest, I've been really fortunate with that. But like, in France, when you say, look, it's funny in France, you go over, mate, they sort your apartment, the car, but they promise you payment, but they never put it in your bank. You'd have to go and see the chairman. You just pull it out of his top pocket and go, yeah, mate.
Oh, yeah, the envelope.
Yeah, they are, mate. There's some of that. You need money and you just give it you like that. But mate, everyone's looked after me, mate, wherever I've been, and probably more so than they should, because I've not played as many games as I would have liked, and predominantly been academy or A team. So every club's always looked after me. Never got a bad thing to say about anyone. Right,
and how did the move to York come about then? Was it who's representing you at this point? Because it's
mate, crazy. Mate, I've had a crazy few years, mate. I had an agent at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had one. Probably because that's what people did, and I thought, yeah, I'll do that as well. And he just got in touch with York and went up and met the chief executive, and then ended up signing a contract there. But I say, mate, only played 3 games. Nice little card, and then just ended up leaving, mate. And then after that, mate, it was Oldham and then Rochdale. But again, just predominantly A team and academy play, mate. So that's me playing career in a nutshell. Academy, A team, and the odd first team here and there, France, York, and friendlies at Rochdale and Oldham. But that's it really, mate. Then went to Warrington Wizards. Remember them? Warrington? I don't really remember.
I do, mate. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You were in the National Conference 3, it was called at the time, and
yeah,
we got quite a high, like a good profile. Although it was predominantly amateur, they got a good profile, and they played in the Northern Rail Cup at the time, and so it was good. Played there till about 28-ish, and then went into coaching there, and that's how all the coaching started from that.
Yeah. So when you're playing in the National Conference and that, did the Wizards have a junior section, or was the criteria not quite like that then?
No, they just had the team, just had the first team. They had played at Wilderspool, the old one.
Yeah.
So it was like a professional setup without being professional. You'd turn up, you're playing at Wilderspool, and you were in the Northern Rail Cup. You had the league, the National League 3. It was always on the paper underneath the professional league, so everything was professional. Even if it wasn't professional, all looked the part. It was a great little setup, mate. Loved it.
No, I remember there was a buzz about you for a while, weren't there? And then, well, obviously after what you've sent me, I realised you've merged now with Holston, but it just went very quiet quickly. But how was the transition from playing to coaching for you? How did you find that?
Oh, mate, it was easy, to be honest. I know some people struggle, some people don't, but because how patchy me playing was, and I was playing a bit here, not turning up there, playing a bit there, academy A team. As soon as the opportunity comes to get into coaching, I thought, right, that's my next chance to do something. Yeah. So it was 28, and it was myself and my mate that were coaching, but he was a player coach.
Okay.
So I stopped playing and did a lot of training sessions, did a lot off the field and on game day, and it just went from there. And our first year, mate, we actually won the grand final in our first year for the Wizards. So I don't know whether that was luck or we were half decent, but it sort of set the path that, from there. So really enjoyed it, man, and enjoyed the transition. Really something I got stuck into coaching. Loved it.
Right, and is it a matter of taking little bits of it, like everyone you've been around? Did you want to have an idea of going into coaching?
Nah, I never. It just come, but I took little bits off everyone. Looking back, you say things happen for a reason. And I played a bit there. So I played a bit under Cullen and Bobby Golding, John Harbin. Took bits from everyone, although I didn't play regular underneath them. I was there in the sessions, training and pre-season. Yeah. So I probably didn't realise at the time, but I must have took a lot away from the places that I've been at, and even adversity and things like that. So I must have took a lot, because I seem to have took to coaching a lot better than playing, obviously. So I must have took a lot from where I'd been. Yeah.
Right. So that first session, mate, when the boots aren't playing boots anymore, and you've got your coaching brain on, when you walk away, is there any doubt about what you're doing, or are you, because you knew the lads? Is it just like you want to crack on with it and you're very happy in what you're doing?
It was tough, mate. Well, do you know what, you mentioned the transition, and it was not tough, but it was difficult for me, because towards I didn't play towards the end as much as the other lads, and I was in and out and stuff like that. So the thing you think about is, are they going to listen to you? That's the first thing. You're going to listen to you. it's always tough. So once you've got that cracked, if you like, you do think about sessions. But I always go away, and I still do to this day, thinking, did it go all right? And should I have done this better? And should I have done that better? And always thinking about how the session went, and at the time thinking, oh, I didn't put this in. But yeah, you're always thinking, mate, always evaluating, and I think if you can put your hand up and say, well, I could have changed that, or that worked right. I think that's the key as well. I think you're always learning, you never stop learning. So yeah, 100%, mate. Every time I've done something, I always think, was that right, or could I have done it better, or that type of thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about that first year for a second, then, mate. So to be that successful, was there any games where you just felt like, as a player, there's times like, you'll know yourself, you just know it's your day, don't you? Yeah. So were there any moments in your coaching in that first year when you felt untouchable, or were there a few nervy bits?
Do you know what, mate? I think we won majority of the games that year. We just had a really good side. We had a lot of really good players, a lot of ex-academy players from Warrington, and things like that. So we had a good team spirit as well. That was the main thing. All the boys got on and enjoyed training and enjoyed being in each other's company, and all had a drink together. So I think everything seemed to fall into place that year. We had some tough games against like Bramley and Huddersfield, Underbank, and they were always tough, mate. But we always seemed to come out on top. So it was a tough year, and there's a few games in the balance, but we always seemed to find a way. And I think it come down to team spirit. I think the boys got on really well, and that really helped throughout the year.
Yeah, that finding a way is a nice habit to have, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember much about the grand final and the build up to it? Because obviously everything you've done so far is working, so you don't change a lot, do you?
I do remember the final session we had before the grand final. We had the session at Wilderspool, and myself and my mate who was coaching, that was when we had to pick the team and drop players. So I remember that day before the game. That's probably the first tough test, if you like, as a coach that I've had, and explaining to the lads, and lads can't understand why they dropped, and you've just got to be confident in your reason and make sure you've got a reason for them. But that was tough, mate. The day was fantastic. One of my best days ever. It just sums out. It was before the League One and League Two grand finals. That's how it was then. So yeah, it was a brilliant day. I was at Halliwell Jones as well, so it was close and fantastic, mate. And Sky were there, so everything went well, mate, and we got the win, which is what it's about, really, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah, it is. So when that's happening, our lads, like, because we'll know, won't we? Because we're involved in the game. A lot of the listeners will know because they're involved in the game. But it's easy to get up for training, innit? It's easy to get up and play. Like, it's when times are a bit harder, it's not as easy. But has it ever felt or got any easier as you've gone on telling people they're not involved? And are you pretty direct with lads as well? I
try to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever gets easy, really, because when you're in that team environment with your squad, and you spend a lot of time with each other, and you're always talking, training, going to games, and you're having to drop a player, it's just I try and make sure I speak to him. No text, try not phone call. Last resort, maybe a phone call, but I'll try and speak to lads face to face. And I've had it in the past where lads have said, I don't agree with you, but I respect your decision, which it is what it is. There's not much I can do. But yeah, it's tough. I don't think that part of the job gets any easier, but I think that can make and break coaches. I think coaches that don't speak to players and don't tell them where they're at and why they're not playing, and even positive feedback, mate, where they are playing. I think players constantly need to know where they're at and what they're doing. But I think coaches that don't do it, mate, are the ones that struggle and fail. For me, that's my opinion anyway. Yeah,
and is that something you'd have liked as a player yourself? Did you like that sort of thing coming from your coach?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah, there's some coaches that never bother with it. I could probably think of a better to wear, but yeah, mate, I think that's the type of thing. I think as time goes on as well, as we've touched on, mate, people need an arm around them, don't they? Or people like their ego knocking up a bit, or something that might need it knocking down. Everyone's different, aren't they? So I do think it's important to speak to individual players like that.
No, I do myself, mate. I 100% agree with that. But so when you have won that, you had a couple of good ties in the Challenge Cup, didn't you? Is it the Wizards?
Oh yeah, mate. That was a good time. Well, we had in the first season we had Swinton. I think we just got beat 34-24, and we were in it right up until the end. And I thought we were going to win it, but we didn't get that one. The year after we got Hunslet, I think we got blown away a bit more there. I think 48-20, something like that. We got blown away a bit more there, and was on the bench that day with Short, and I didn't put myself on, mate. You don't want to make a fool of yourself when you're a coach, do you? But you don't want to make a fool of yourself. But yeah, we had 2 good sides. We used to always get through, but it's changed the Towns Cup now, hasn't it? The big boys come in later, don't they? And later, it's harder to get. The pro side, you can still get them, can't you? The lower team, lower League One teams still get them, don't they? But it's a bit tougher to get a bit further now in the cup, isn't it? The way it's changed.
Is that something you'd want reverting back then?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah, it's tough with rugby league though. As in, when I say tough, the full-time athletes, mate, they're a lot bigger and stronger, aren't they? So I get why they kept a part of it, because it could blow away from it the scores. But I do think like the amateur teams and the lower teams need a carrot to dangle, don't they? And it's a payday as well for them, and if you can get the draw at home, and mate, that's what you play for in them type of games. So I do think it needs to come back. Yeah.
Well, I do like the old Simmy's Wigan game and stuff, and it is what your lads are after, isn't it?
It's funny you said that. I was only speaking to me lad Ellis about that yesterday. You know, Simmy's how good they were. They were dominant, weren't they, through that era? And they played Wigan. I think they scored first. They got a goal kick first, did they?
Drop a goal or kick a penalty or something.
Something they weren't they? First on the scoreboard. But mate, Simmy's beat London Scholars as well. I was telling them that yesterday. I think they beat London Scholars in the cup, and so Simmy's were a really good side. And it's a shame it doesn't happen as much anymore, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. No, that's why the FA Cup's as good as it is, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, all them lower league teams playing it. Yeah. Mate, they're up for it, aren't they? Even Nottingham Forest, every day, mate. They have a goal, don't they? Of
course, they're final, isn't it?
Yeah, good games to watch, mate. They should bring it back, definitely.
What happened towards the end of the Warrington Wizards spell then, mate? And was that mutual? And what was out there for you?
Do you know what, mate? It sounds like I've had adversity everywhere I've been, but we had 2 seasons there. The second season wasn't as good. We obviously won that grand final, so it's quality the first season, and you think you can walk on water, mate. But the second season weren't as good, mate. We were up there, but I think we finished 4th, something like that. Towards the end of the year, my mate who was coaching, he'd left. So they were going for they were choosing a new head coach, because it was me and my mate who were coaching at the time, so they wanted a new, and he didn't pick me. He didn't pick me as the head coach. He picked someone else that was there, and I was like, what's all that about? And I remember storming out and thinking, I'm not coming back here. They wanted me to assist someone else as a head coach. I thought, I'm not doing this, not doing it. Went away, and there was a bloke used to mentor me quite a bit called Warren Ayres. He was involved in rugby league for years, and he made me change my mind, so I come back. And eventually it didn't work out with his head coach a couple of games in, and I got the job.
Right.
And then he ended up taking over when it went to Woolston as well as the head coach. So there's a bit of adversity, mate, and I don't know, I just stuck with it, and it ended up working out for the best. And sometimes I think that's just the way it happens. And I look back now thinking that possibly, it would have been I wouldn't have been coaching now if I'd have just walked away and left it and bit my tongue, mate, carried on, and it just didn't work out. So I ended up stepping in and as the head coach of the Wizards for the rest of the season. And then when we merged to Woolston, I took over as head coach there of the whole club. Yeah.
Right. So before we step up, because you do climb levels, don't you? How does the behind the scenes work at this level? Because you're still like an infantry coaching, really, aren't you? This is your first job, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. It's behind the scenes, mate. With regards to the club and that, they were both great. They had great people at Warrington Wizards and Woolston. They were the people at the Wizards were at Woolston originally, and then came over to the Wizards, then back to. So they were Woolston originally, all through and through. So they were fantastic people behind the scenes, mate. I got everything I needed. I couldn't have asked for any more, really. And I was just left to do the coaching, probably more so there than I was at South Wales, mate. I was just left to get on with the coaching, which is ideal and what you want. So couldn't have asked for anything more at the Wizards and Woolston.
So a great learning curve, that, mate, to set you up for the rest of your coaching, yeah.
Yeah, it was good, mate. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's, as I say, with the adversity, we're not getting the job originally, and then at Woolston, towards the end of Woolston, before I left, mate, struggle with numbers and things. You know what it's like at times, don't you? At amateur clubs, and mate, I'm planning sessions for 20, 25, and 6 are turning up, and I'm like, what's going on here? And then you're looking the fool, and I was thinking, I'm done here after this season, and that's when the South Wales opportunity come in before the end of the season. So it sort of kept me going, if you like.
Yeah. So who facilitates that for you now? You're on the other side of the whitewash, so do you still have an agent, or did they approach you?
What happened with that agent, mate, was a nightmare. I don't know why we got that agent. I was just young when with the coaching, mate, I was involved with it. I got while I was at Woolston, I got the Wales Dragonhearts job, which was basically the best amateur players in Wales.
Right, okay.
That's what that job was. So I got that job, and then we ended up getting a job to coach a Welsh select team against the full Welsh national team before the World Cup.
Okay.
So we got that game, and that's when the South Wales. It was after the game I got approached by the Wales CEO and also Mike Nicholas. He's on the board. Asked if I'd fancy the South Wales job, and it come from that game really. So we got a beat, but we give him a good. Lee Braves was reffing that day, so that's probably why. But we give him a good game, mate. We had a good goal, we had a good dig, and I was already in the Welsh setup, and they asked me if I fancied it. It was me and someone else that were in the run. They asked me if I fancied it, and yeah, mate, I jumped on it. Straight away. It was a professional job, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. So if we go back a little bit, mate, then so how do you know what your talent pool is when you come into like the best of the amateur lads with the Welsh Dragonhearts? Yeah, how's that work? And
stuff, mate. I had an assistant coach down there in South Wales, one in North Wales. Just had trials, mate, at both ends in South Wales and North Wales, and just whenever it comes to the trial, mate, I tried to get to a few games, show me face.
Yeah.
Just mainly trials, mate, and then went from there. Just pretty good, but trusted me assistants really, just got their opinion as well, and just went from there.
That's fair enough, because like Rhys Williams, for instance, he played for Mold Rugby Union before he was picked up for Warrington. Yeah, so you'd have had quite a few Rugby Union lads probably up for that, wouldn't you? And again, you boys are opening a shop window for them, then, aren't you? And that's the beauty of that.
Mate, I firmly believe, and I still do to this day, that there's plenty of talent in, well, obviously North Wales, but because I went down South Wales, mate, there's plenty of talent down there. It's just they never persevered with the club for so long. It was South Wales, and it changed to South Wales Ironmen, and it's West Wales at the moment, and they just don't stabilise. And if they stick with something, I promise you, there's plenty of lads to come through. And you've seen it in the Super League, mate, with like Gil Dudson and Lloyd White, and people like that. There is players down there, but they just need to stick at it and give it a go. We weren't far off in that first season, 2014, mate, with South Wales, and there's definitely people there, but it always comes down to finances, and it end up starting again. And it's just a shame, mate, because they love the sport down there. So obviously, rugby union, predominantly rugby union, but when they play rugby league, they love it. But just getting the foot in the door in it, and just trying to play with stuff.
So how would you infiltrate that union hotbed then, mate? What would you have to do?
The way it is down there, mate, offering them more money, but mate, it's amazing that it opened my eyes when I went down there. You probably know more yourself, but when I went living in the valleys, and mate, every little village has got a rugby union club. Yeah. It's massive down there, and when Wales are playing at the stadium, it's like a bank holiday. Everyone's out, lads, girls, they're all out from 9 o'clock in the morning. It's massive down there, and I couldn't believe how big it was. And I understand why it's so hard to crack, but you can get lads down there, and lads, when lads start playing, you do enjoy it. They do enjoy it, but it's getting them into the game, introducing it, and just keeping solid pathways all the way through.
Yeah. So as much as we joked about it, mate, the money matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah,
of course it does. It talks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the saying, innit, mate? Money talks, innit? And
yeah, of course it does.
Mate, you can go down there, and I don't know whether they're meant to pay or this, that, and the other, mate, but mate, they're all getting money off them rugby union clubs down there. And
no, they are, yeah.
Yeah, it's all pay money for them at the weekend, and a bit of extra cash going into accounts. Yeah.
Each club tends down there to provide an international.
Yeah.
So whether they're playing or not, because someone's wore the jersey, they fully buy in, don't they? The Welsh, like, it's all or nothing with them.
Yeah, they love it, mate. They're a different breed, mate. I love the Welsh. They are a different breed, but I love it, mate. They love an ale, and I enjoyed my time down there, mate. It was brilliant. Learning curve, but it was good.
So how was it day to day, mate? Because obviously you're competing with Union, like you've said. You've got to try and keep lads. Is a little bit of you's probably thinking they may be only here for the dollar, and then you're leaning on a few lads from with lads basically, aren't you, to try and pull you out of the trouble and fill gaps and that. How was that?
The first season, mate, was probably the better of the two.
Yeah,
mate, it was all South Wales lads down there. Mate, the money was awful. I couldn't explain to you how poor the money was compared. Probably on par with some rugby union clubs, but the main thing down there, mate, they enjoyed rugby league. They enjoyed playing rugby league, and we had a good morale down there. And it's crazy saying we used to get beat, didn't we, every week? But we had a good morale down there. Everyone enjoyed it, and they had a good drink after the game, and everyone just enjoyed what they were doing. So that first season, it was all right, and we ended up getting 7 of the lads were selected for the full Welsh team that year.
It's massive, that, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's a long time back now, isn't it? And we had young lad Conor Farrell. He was selected for Young Player of the Year for the league. I was nominated for Coach of the Year for the league that year. So we had a really good year that year. And it's just down to, I'm going to say it's down to coaching them, but I look too big-headed, won't I? But it's down to just getting the lads to buy in, innit? Yeah, it's getting lads to buy in and not being, not shouting and teach alike, and just getting the lads to buy in, enjoying what they're doing, and it was good, really good time that first year. Second year, mate, we got the rug pulled under us a little bit. Wales Rugby League ran us, but we had poor money in 2014, and then even worse in 15. So then a few started leaving, and I actually got a couple of witness lads up towards the end. And I got Ryan Millington, Johnny Leather, a lad from Oldham, Andrew Joyce. We ended up getting a couple of travellers up there, and just went a bit skew with the second year, mate. But the first year was the good year.
Right. So what people don't understand, mate, not only are you nurturing the player, because the two calls are drastically different and they've been brought up playing union, but you're nurturing a culture, aren't you? You're starting right from everything. So not only playing styles and shapes and combinations, but the fact that you want people to stay and have at least a beer after the game, that's a minimum, isn't it? Coming up and turning up in the same polo top is a minimum. Stuff like that is the culture, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you don't see it loads now. I don't know whether it's changed a bit now, but there was and like amateur games that you see people just getting off, and what's going on here? It seems to have changed a little bit, doesn't it? I don't know whether it's back to how it was, but you see a lot of people just all going for one and goal, and some don't even come in. And you're like, that's massive, isn't it? The culture and things like that.
So after you've basically produced what you've produced, so you've made internationals, you've got a nominee for Young Player of the Year, you nominated yourself for Coach of the Year. For him to do that with the money, do you know it's coming to an end, and are you starting to look around? Or
well, first year I was there, mate, I moved down there. I lived there, so relocate my job and lived there. And first job, mate. But then second year I come back up here, and that probably had a bit of an effect. I was travelling and things like that, but I think it probably peaked too early in that first year. Then we're getting all that recognition and that. But it's just the money and that. I think that because that was worse than what it was tight anyway, the money in 2014, but lads were okay with it because they understood the situation. But when it got worse, I think some were thinking, it's not worth it now. And travelling from down there to all the clubs up here, because predominantly everyone's up here, aren't they? So it's a big ask for them, weren't it? But probably peaked a bit in that. But it's a learning curve, mate. Enjoyed it, and it is what it is, isn't it?
Oh, it is. At least you can see it like that, though, mate. So what was next for you, and what were you up to?
After that, mate, I left obviously there. Last game was Swinton, at Swinton, and that was my last game. And then after that, we went to Newcastle. I went for the interview for the head coach job. There's a couple of people on the panel. There's two people that wanted me to do the head coach job, but the owner wanted the Australian that interviewed. Right. So he got the job, and I was assistant.
Is this the guy that owns Newcastle Falcons as well?
Yeah, he owns both. Yeah, he owns, I think, Seymour or something, his name. But so he wanted the Australian that came in. So the Australian got the head coach gig. I got the assistant. Maybe looking back, I was probably a bit immature about it. Yeah, because I thought maybe I should have had the job, but
should have just put an accent on, mate.
Yeah, I should have gone round, poisoned him, shouldn't I? Replaced, but no, again, it was a learning curve. He wasn't here straight away, so I took the first couple of sessions in training, and probably what made it a little bit worse, lads were saying, good session that, and he went back to the chairman saying it was a great session, enjoyed that, and then he came in, and then he took over, mate. I think I found it a little bit difficult adjusting from being a head coach to an assistant. Yeah, that'd be different now. I think I've matured a lot since then. I think I was quite immature when I went there, and I look back on my time there, and probably not so much embarrassed, but probably could have done a bit better than what I did. So I was going through a few things off the field, mate, as well. So it was a bit tough at the time, but I look back and I think I'm really grateful for what Newcastle did, mate. They were a quality club, and I imagine they still are to this day, and couldn't do enough for me. And I look back and I'm thinking, but again, I look at it as it's an experience, and I think everything happens for a reason. And again, it shapes you going forward, I think. It
does, mate. Yeah. So were you in that stadium? Was you at the
Kingston Park, mate? Yeah, fantastic.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, fantastic facilities there, mate. It's got everything it needs for a Super League club, if you like. It's everything's in place there.
Everything. It's the hub, isn't it? It's like all the kids go there. It's the hub.
Yeah, it is, mate. There's a lot going on in the community up there as well. Community clubs and really active, in the community and things like that. So it is quite big up there, but it's just taking that next step for him, innit? I think they've gone full time this season, haven't they? So it just depends how long it takes them to go into that transition and go forward from there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and people being patient. It's not an overnight.
Yeah. I think they've realised that as a club, but I think they've had the patience, haven't they? Some people aren't.
Yeah.
With the likes of Toronto and things like that, and they're there for a couple of seasons and gone. And I think Newcastle have been really patient with what they're doing.
Yeah. So when you go there, the match day experience at Newcastle's pretty good as well, isn't it? So Diamond, an ex-Wids lad, he played for them, didn't he? We went up and watched him a couple of times on the Magic weekend, and there's like bands on, there's all curtain raises, half-time stuff. There's loads going on. It's exactly what you've said, other than the Super League being on the pitch. It's virtually there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably better than some clubs that are in Super League at the moment. With respect to them, it just needs the playing side, which I'm sure they're working on now, and they're looking next couple of years, aren't they? Next 2-3 years, they're probably looking at challenging at the top of that league, aren't they?
And did you see some talent while you were up there, mate? Do you reckon?
Yeah, plenty, mate. And again, it's not the same as South Wales, but similar as in when you get people to try the game, they love it. Hence all the community clubs they've got going, and a lot of people enjoy playing rugby league, and it's getting them into it. And I think Newcastle have done a really good job doing all that.
So, what were the circumstances for coming more local from there then, mate? Was it, again, a bit, like you said, a bit of immaturity? You've had a lot going on with your life, like you just said, so a bit of everything.
A bit going on personally at that time, mate, and that's probably another story to tell another day, but mate, I remember it was before the League One season kicked off. I think we had Oxford on the Sunday, when they were in the league. The lads had travelled down to there. I was travelling up from Widnes on the Sunday, and I think it was a Saturday night. I just packed in Saturday night before the Sunday, mate. I just jacked in, and that was it, mate. That was the end of that, mate. And as I say, I think a lot of immaturity for myself, but you learn, don't you? Live, learn, and it is, mate. Yeah, I've spoken to people since, and I think the transition from head coach to assistant coach was probably a bit immature about that. I'd grab an assistant coach job any time today, but back then I probably thought I was bigger than what I was, even though it was only South Wales. I probably thought, well, why should I be an assistant? But mate, you live and learn, and I still speak to people from Newcastle now, and mate, it was a brilliant experience, and I can't speak highly enough of them, how they were with me.
No, good man. So after that experience, how long till your next job, mate? And did you doubt rugby at all, or was rugby always going to go back there? You just needed a bit of time.
Nah, I just needed a bit of time, I think, and probably something more local as well. And it was the following season when I got the Crusaders, North Wales Crusaders.
You've never been close to warm, have you? So far, you've been miles away.
Well, mate, not even apart from Newcastle, I can't get an English club, can I? South Wales, North Wales, all Wales rep teams. I can't coach anywhere in England, but I got the North Wales job, mate, which was ideal on my doorstep, more or less. They're in Wrexham, aren't they? So half hour, 40 minutes drive. So that was ideal, mate. But I had to sit out the season that I left from Newcastle and wait till the following season to start there. And again, mate, I was probably a bit of immaturity while I was there as well. Cause I remember playing South Wales, and all I was focused on was beating them, playing Newcastle, which obviously you are, but I was getting consumed with it.
Right.
I remember beating Newcastle home and away, and I was going mad on the sideline loving it and thinking, that's what you could have had, and you're not got it. And I was still probably a little immature there, so I was still getting consumed with things like that. But really, again, another club I couldn't speak highly of. North Wales, really enjoyed it. There's some great people behind the scenes, and fantastic, mate, brilliant. So
now you're going up the levels, mate. Are you instead of, because it sounds a bit like at South Wales, you weren't just a coach, you were sort of like a bit of everything. So the higher you go in, are you allowed to concentrate more on what you want to be concentrating on? Because obviously we've spoke before, and money is an issue for lads. It's a deciding factor sometimes. But at North Wales, was that something you didn't have to worry about? You could just focus on the group and doing what you want to do, coach?
Yeah, more so, mate. Yeah, there was still things we had to do, behind the scenes. Again, North Wales was more or less starting again. They had the previous owner that left them in a lot of trouble, so they were starting again. They didn't have much money, but it was a lot easier to get players because we're on the doorstep to the Heartland, aren't we? Widnes, Warrington, Wigan, St Helens. So a lot easier to get players, mate. And I got a lot more time to do a lot more coaching, but a different type of coaching, because the lads knew a lot more about rugby league than what they did in in South Wales, so it was a little bit easier, a lot more hands on, but a little bit easier because they knew a lot more than the lads did down South Wales.
Right. So from a playing perspective, I've heard how like signing people goes and agents put feelers out, but from a coaching perspective, mate, how do you find out who's free? How do you find out who's keen? And how do you whittle down? Not only because you're not just looking at a good player, you want a good person as well, don't you?
Right.
With him, do you know what I mean? You want them types. So how do you whittle that down, mate?
Well, it's probably easier at that level of rugby league because a lot of them only sign 1 year contracts. So you know when you go into a job, there's going to be a lot of lads looking either signing a deal with the current club, just about to sign it, or looking for a new club. So it's a lot easier to get older lads and see what they're doing and things like that. But yeah, you'll know in rugby union that you get to know a lot of people, don't you? So I knew a lot of lads anyway. Always met with them before they signed and had a chat with them and seen how they were. And I don't think I had a bad lad at North Wales. I honestly don't think I signed a bad lad. Again, another good group. No contract money there whatsoever, mate. Just small match money they were getting. They got to that final, didn't we? That final in Blackpool, League One final in the first year, and maybe finished mid-table. Probably let ourselves down a little bit in the league, but we had some good wins against some good teams, mate. So, mate, it was all right. We got some good lads, really good lads, and again, they just enjoyed doing what they were doing. Doing what they were doing, enjoyed playing with each other and game day, and just getting the right atmosphere, which I think we did.
Right. So how are them with? So when your cup runs are good and your league's indifferent, how do you cope with that, and how do you keep people grounded? It's tough, mate. Isn't it? The League One Cup we had a fantastic run in that, and probably should have won it. Just last 10 minutes, so it just fell away from us. But league, mate, it was tough. The league, I don't know whether the cup took the wind out of our sails, because we got to the final, we did so well in the final, and we just lost it last 10 minutes, and after that we'd lost games in the league we probably shouldn't have lost. So I don't know whether it took the wind out of our sails, mate, but just trying to manage it the best you can to get back on track. And they say winning's a habit, losing's a habit, so it's just getting out that rut in it and getting back on the horse. Mate. You ever feel you're just flying off the lads, and was you that?
Sorry, John, I missed you then, mate. What did you
say? Clubs you've been at in good Wales, mate.
Sorry, mate, just caught the end of it, John. I've got you back now.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, it's all right. Yeah, so like the clubs you've been at, mate. So you've been at some good clubs, haven't you? But do you feel like you were used as a shot window for other clubs? So to see how them lads went, and was you okay with that because they were doing a job for you at the time?
I don't know, mate. Maybe somewhere, some probably had higher ambition to go into the Championship and things like that, mate. But as long as they were doing the job for us, and mate, no one gave me that indication while I was there. And even if they did, they won't tell me what they made. But as long as they're doing a job for us, mate, then I'm happy with that, aren't I?
Yeah. So what come of the Crusaders job, mate, and what was next for you?
Well, I left there in, I think it was March 2018, April 2018. Just decided to part ways, both of us, and mate, I still get on with mate. I've seen the CEO the other week. I had a drink with him the other week, and still speak to the head coach Anthony Murray regularly. So no problems there, mate. We just decided to part ways, and that's really been it, mate. I've just been involved with the Wales students since then. Right. Coaching wise, mate, I sound like a broken record. I must have interviewed for about 5 or 6 coaching jobs since. Got down to last, 3 or 4, but never got the nod, mate. Even went over to Ireland as well, interviewed for the Ireland job in Dublin, at the time when I left Crusaders. So I've had a few opportunities to get back in, but nothing's ever materialised, mate. So it is what it is at the moment, mate. Just coaching the Welsh students and enjoying, not as much pressure, but just enjoying doing what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, because fundamentally, mate, we're all involved because we love the game, don't we? And anything else is a bonus. So as long as you're still doing that, it's worth doing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, mate, I enjoy watching my lad as well at the moment. My lad plays for the Hornets, and he just started secondary school.
Is he?
So he's so just enjoying watching him at the moment, mate. And mate, if the opportunity comes, I'd jump at it. I've got an ambition, mate. I'm just like a school kid that wants to play at Wembley, mate. I'm dying to get back in, and I'd love to get back in. And when that opportunity comes, mate, I'll grab it with both hands. But while it's not, mate, just enjoy Ellis, what he's doing, and he's loving his rugby at the moment, so I enjoy watching him at the weekend.
Good stuff, mate. So that time of the interview, mate, a couple of daft questions for you. So any pre-match superstitions, either playing or coaching?
Not really, mate. No coaching. Mate, coaching, I'd always want a coffee in my hand. I don't know why. I'd always want a coffee in my hand and just chill in the change rooms with a coffee. But no pre-match superstitions, mate. Nothing like that. When I actually did play, mate, I'd go for a walk before the game, and I'd always want to have beans on toast in the morning, mate. But apart from that, nothing else.
Right. So the toughest player you've played with or against or coached?
So, mate, I was going to say Ryan Millington. He's tough, but he'll get a big head, won't he, mate? For say Ryan, but
he is a tough one.
Yeah, he's tough, mate. Ryan's one of them players, mate. I'd say to him before the game, just go out and hurt him, will you? Go out and hurt him. And don't get sent off, mate, but just go and get stuck into him. And, mate, he'd get stuck in. I think he's playing at the moment with a bad knee. And
yes,
mate, he'll strap anything off, mate, and just give you 100%. And I think he started at loose, and he finished at prop with us. And
play anywhere, won't he?
Yeah, he just take the ball in, mate, and he just give you 110% wherever he played. So he's probably one of the toughest lads that I've coached, mate. He's a nice lad off the field as well. So he's a good lad, mate, Ryan.
Fair enough. So your favourite away ground?
That's a question, isn't it? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I like York, Booth and Crescent when he played there, probably because we got 2 good wins there for North Wales. So love going there, mate. It was a good atmosphere, and we won the cup game in Golden Point, which was a fantastic day. So
the win, innit?
Yeah, it was good there, mate. I used to like going York, and mate, North Wales was always good though at home. The fans there are fantastic, mate. They always make you feel welcome. Don't stop singing. So used to always love home games, mate. Right. It's just a great setup in North Wales, mate. Used to love it there.
Right. So you've had a few beers, mate. You're out with your mates. You're in simmies, the microphone's in your hand. What you giving us? What's your go-to karaoke?
That's another question. Probably something by Oasis. I don't know, mate. Don't Look Back in Anger, maybe something like that. A little bit of Oasis. Just want something to get the crowd going. A bit of I don't know, like being the centre of attention sometimes. Not had it for a while, mate. So I've been out with coaching, haven't I? So this is the first bit of attention I've had for a while, mate. But something Oasis, Don't Look Back in Anger, get the crowd going, mate. Get everyone singing. I love all that type of stuff. Right.
So this will get your brain ticking now, mate. You're 1 to 13 that you've coached.
Oh, mate, you could have warned me about this before we started.
Good off. I was too busy looking through your CV, mate. I weren't expecting that serious.
Mate, I'd have to, number one, I'd probably have to go with Tommy Johnson, who's at North Wales.
Yeah.
Just a solid fullback. Maybe it's going to probably predominantly be North Wales here, but Tommy Johnson, fullback, quality fullback, he's still there now. Danny Price, do you know Danny Price?
Danny. Yeah.
Mate, one lad that I think's got fantastic potential, mate, but just not seems to kick on at the moment. But he's played a few clubs, you know, Rochdale, North Wales.
He has got it.
Yeah, I think so, mate. He's got really good potential. But other winger, we had a winger on loan from Warrington called Taylor Prell. He's at Keighley now. He was good, mate. Really quick, really good. Centres. Now you're asking, do you want to go to halves? I'll go to halves. We had Paul Emanuele, South Wales.
Yeah.
After he was my assistant coach at the time.
Right.
He went on to play for Wales for a bit. So I'm coaching the students with Paul at the moment. So he's still a close friend, Paul. And do you know what? I'll go for Ryan Smith, who's at North Wales Crusaders.
Right.
Mate, if you watched us in that 2017 season, mate, he just used to do so much off the cuff, and it's got some fantastic tries with Ryan. So, mate, I'll go with him. So I'll go straight to me loose, and I'm going to go with Ryan Millington. So I'll have to think of everything else. Ryan got in the 2017 League Express Team of the Year with us.
Yeah.
So he's going in at loose. Hooker, it'd have to be my captain, Lee Hudson.
Yeah, come through our academy, didn't he, at Witness?
Yeah, he did, mate. Lee, if I ever went to a club now, he'd be one player that I'd ask if he fancies another goal. But he just trained really well, played really well, never give, again, like Millie, never give less than 100%, 110%. He's just really reliable and fantastic captain for me. Props, mate, Warren Thompson.
Yeah.
He was prop, he's at St Helens, and he was at Crusaders with us. South Wales lad, Neil Ballymore.
Right.
Yeah, good prop. Second row, mate. Now you're asking who's my second row? I'm not even give you any centres yet, have I?
Oh.
Not even give you any centres, mate.
I'll put you in the spot, to be fair.
Yeah, you'd have you've done me there centres-wise. No, I can't do it. I have to come back to you. I'll have to tweet you another day, won't I, with the centres.
Yeah.
But mate, my players would only be from South Wales and North Wales anyway. And mate, I was blessed with some really, really good players there as I've touched them, mate. But mainly the lads that give 110%. And probably the one for me, what I've mentioned is Pricey, mate. Fantastic potential, Pricey. I still think he could do a bit now if he knuckled down and had a really good goal. And a few witness lads there. Yeah, I don't know where he's at. I think he's at Burton Wood now. I think that's where he's at, mate. But, yeah, he's at Burton Wood. But mate, fantastic lad, good player. But obviously didn't kick on to what we had. But again, Billy, another one. So there's some good witness lads there, isn't there? I think we're blessed with players in the town, aren't we? And
we are.
I think it's a shame the way the game is in the town at the moment. When I say the game, we used to have loads of open age rugby league teams, didn't we?
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's short and sweet now, isn't it?
I'm witnessing in the championship, and for one reason or another, and it'd be nice just to get back and start producing lads. There's loads of Saints in it. You got your Lewis Dodds, Mark Percival's, Danny Richardson's. Produce loads, mate, don't we? So it'd be nice to get back into a place where we're producing players like that again.
Oh, well, thanks very much for your time, mate. Appreciate that.